Hello folks, and welcome to the second in our series of Dharma Outreach, Dharma Talks. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to those of you that watched the first 2 weeks ago. Your feedback was appreciated, and hopefully you'll carry on watching the series as we progress. So today I've got with me Marshall, of course, and also we're very lucky to have a special guest, and Jeremy has joined us, and he's gonna he's I'm sure going to be it's going to be an interesting time for us this half hour. So I think we just saw a glimpse of the Refuge Recovery book there, and I think I'd like to start off with asking Jeremy about our new Refuge Recovery meeting, which you will be starting the first one tomorrow on Thursday, which will be regularly 6 o'clock in Beverley, but also via virtual as well, and Jeremy has offered to facilitate that meeting for us. So, Jeremy, perhaps you could maybe tell us a little bit about what you envision for the new Refuge meeting.
Sure. So, I mean, I have in the past, Marcia and I have tried to run this program before. I don't have any real expectations for the meeting, other than hopefully we get some people to join. I sort of enjoyed doing it because it was much different than any other program that I have tried. It just felt simpler, and I feel like for anyone in recovery, simple is where we need to start, is keeping it simple, you know?
Thank you. So, as far as the Refuge Recovery program is concerned, the actual NOAA's program, have you had any experience of anyone personally that's benefited from the program? Either yourself or Marshall.
I stumbled across it. I had found it one day on my own. I really hadn't known anyone who had tried the program before, so I had ordered the book and read through it, and it everything just seemed to make more sense to me than anything else I've ever tried.
That's great.
Yeah, and you know, I could actually speak on Refuge Recovery, because as a person that was studied in, trained in some of the Buddhist principles and practices from just reading about, different forms of Buddhism, especially Theravadan Buddhism, like the Pali Canons. When I came out of prison, I began going to Refuge Recovery meetings, and Refuge Recovery is a Buddhist path to recovery, but Buddhism really focuses on the thing that we experience as people with addictions, because Buddhism focuses on the craving and the attachment that we experience on many different levels. Addiction is just like an accelerated version of that, for people that have the most severest forms of addiction. So it was something that I really gravitated towards as being a person in recovery and working with people in recovery. Jeremy, how do you feel like that program is towards like helping people in recovery?
I mean, I believe it gets you to look more into self, and to sit with self, It really more of that aspect of more inner work, especially with the meditations.
Do you feel that that a program such as this it enhances the actual teachings themselves? I mean, I perhaps I'll give my views on that and then see what people think. I certainly think that programs like Refuge, Recovery and other programs, they go a long way to bringing the benefits of the teachings to a wider audience, which I think everyone knows is what our mission is with Dharma Outreach. And I think that that programs like this enhance the teachings for folks that are in recovery or hope to be in recovery, folks that are struggling or have struggled with substance issues. For me, a big part of that was for me personally was the precepts and in particular the fifth precept, the abstaining from intoxicants. And not because it was some kind of commandment, if you like, that was gonna bring me all sorts of terrible fates if I didn't follow it, but because it made sense that the times in my life where I had been heavily using intoxicants, those times were more of a problem to me when I wasn't. So that fifth precept actually made a great deal of practical sense. And I think programs like this just kind of reinforce that practical sense of it. I'd kind of be interested to hear what either of you guys have got to say on that one.
You want me to kick it off?
Kick it off.
Woo! All right. So yeah, like Refuge Recovery, and now they have a Recovery Dharma, which are pretty much Buddhist paths to recovery. It's good because it introduces people to Buddhism. Buddhism is very expansive. It crosses many cultural lines. It started in India and it moved all its way into Japan, all over the Asian continent. Changing with each culture it was introduced to. But for anybody that wants to learn or practice Buddhism, especially some people that are in recovery, I think it's a great option. And if people want to learn more, they can kind of explore the information's out there. And there's a lot to choose from as far as like different Buddhist practices go. Like Pure Land Buddhism, which is more of like a faith-based form of Buddhism, which focuses more on finding yourself in a pure land or abode, like a heavenly abode, to like some of the older Theravadan practices, which focuses on extinguishing the suffering, the psychological suffering, that we kind of were bound to. And then there's different Buddhisms that practice different forms of meditation, chanting, to focus the mind. And there's just like a lot of stuff people can do. But just the basic principles of Buddhism that you find in Refuge Recovery, like the body scans, the focus on the breathing meditations, the metta meditations, the loving kindness, focusing on loving kindness, working from yourself and expanding that outward to others and into the universe. It builds those attributes and traits, I think, that are good for healing and healing and recovery, in my mind, are synonymous. It's those core principles that are expressed, I think, that can, make that inner work, like you said, Jeremy, like can make a big difference in people's lives,
Right. So, off of what you had just said, basically what drew me to Refuge Recovery was just that itself, because I was looking for a way to to just be able to comfortably sit with myself, because for the longest time I just could not find that. And when I came across Refuge and started practicing the meditations and breath work, which I had started breath work way before I even knew about this, but to find something linked with what I was interested in already doing just made sense to me, you know?
Could you talk about some of this breath work that you were doing before you got introduced to Refuge Recovery, Buddhist Recovery?
Yeah, of course. So I consider myself to be a recovered alcoholic. I've got going on 6 years now, and for a good, I'd say 4, maybe even 4.5 of those years, I was miserable with myself. I was seeking something to fill the void that I knew if I had if I continued putting substance in my body, I was looking for that feeling when I drank. I was looking for that without the drink, and I just couldn't find it anywhere. So I ended up going down like a little rabbit hole, because I was tired of taking medications for anxiety, depression, and I was, therapy, it did help a bit, but I still just wasn't feeling like myself, I guess. So I ended up just hopping on the internet, and I was searching for anything. I don't know specifically what I was looking for at the time. It was a while ago. But I came across this man, Wim Hof, and it was just, I was like, what do I have to lose? Like, I'm going to try this. So what it is it's breath work. It's, it helped me, it gave me that feeling. Like, so the breath work it's basically like your, what's the word? You're purposely hyperventilating yourself, almost, but you're conscious about it. So it's I know it sounds dangerous, but it really isn't, and it has done a lot of benefit for me. It has gotten me into a state of mind where those feelings of wanting to fill that void were null and void, gone. Through the practice of the breath work and cold exposure, I was able to heal my mind.
Thank you. That's thank you for sharing it. I think I'd like to add here as well that this, although obviously this Dharma Outreach program is Buddhist centered, we're not trying to convert anyone, and we're not trying to change anyone from anything they're doing. We're just trying to provide tools, provide access to tools for folks. And as I think everyone knows, we're specifically working with folks that I've taken to call in disadvantaged communities. I'm not sure whether that's politically correct to call that, but I'm too old to worry about that. Anything that anything that can improve someone's lot is, if they're not harming themselves or anyone else, is good with me. And I think that being open to that diversity is much more beneficial than saying, well, this isn't a Buddhist practice, that isn't a Buddhist practice. I think we have to be open to avenues that work for people. The group that I run on a Thursday in Boston certainly I don't think the majority of them wouldn't consider themselves to be Buddhist or anything else, but they're following Buddhist meditation basically what are Buddhist meditation, Theravada Buddhist meditation practices, as a tool in their recovery. And I think that's the most important thing for us here, that We are open to diversity. There is no dogma involved. You know, and I have to say, if that upsets people, well, I'm sorry about that, but I'm going to carry on doing exactly the same as I'm doing.
So, you know what, Sujato? I like what you said, and you know, the stance of Tiffney's Recovery Incorporated is always finding what works best for the individual, meeting them where they're at. You know, but which doesn't always mean that we leave them there, but we give people opportunities to make choices and decisions in their lives. But my question to you is this: are you saying that as a Buddhist, in which I believe is a Buddhist concept, that there's other tools out there for people to help improve the health of their mental state?
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think there are tools and systems out there that certainly don't have this exclusive Buddhist label on them, that are incredibly Buddhist in the way they work. I think we need to get away from this, you know, from some of this almost dogmatic, that's not Buddhism, this is Buddhism, that's not. I think we need to kind of get, away from that. Although, having said that, you know, I really have a very strong Theravada leaning. it's where I came from, and I still do, despite what others might think. And I kind of have little regard for what some people think, to be honest with you. But we have to be open to the fact that there are other tools out there that might suit some people better than others, and certainly my focus is on making folks aware of the Buddhist-based tools that can improve their lot in life, but not by excluding anything else that people might think, you know, that people might find is beneficial. I go down the same route as far as harm is concerned. You know, if someone is causing no harm to themselves or anyone else, then let them try what they want to try. That's my criteria on it, to be honest with you.
Right. I mean, I personally, like everything that I practice, like it's for me. That's what works for me. It's my experience. I'm not trying to tell anyone they're going to have the same experience that I have. Now, I don't consider myself a Buddhist. I don't like putting labels on myself, though I practice some similarities in it, you know, but I don't go around saying, hey, I'm a Buddhist. Like, what you believe is what you believe, and that's okay. Like, I don't go around, I don't like telling somebody what they believe is wrong because I believe this. Everything is individual. For me, that's just for me.
I completely agree with you. Thank you for that.
You know what I was thinking? You know, like I tell people I'm Buddhist a lot of times. Well, people don't really know a lot about Buddhism in this country, and they think that I worship the fat guy that you give money to at the Chinese food place. So yeah, it's like it's one of those things where it's like, you know, I mean, sometimes I wish I hadn't have said it, but you know what I was thinking? Like, I want to talk about like love, like metta, loving friendliness or loving kindness, like that term in Buddhism. And I was thinking back when you were talking, Sujato, about that time we went down to the engagement center down on Mass and Cass, where the people were. There was hundreds of people down there, and we met Chrissy and Bob Jolbert down there. These people were amazing. I have never seen I have seen a lot of loving people, but like the love that these people emanated and how they were helping and taking care of the people in the streets, like that was metta. Now, Sujato, you know, you and I have been around, and we've seen a lot of, you know, educated practicing Buddhists that talk about metta, but you don't really see, like, you don't see it in action. Whereas Chrissy and Bob, you see them, and like they're the personification of metta. And what were they saying? You can feel the love out here. You can feel the love in the street. And I see other people that don't have any type of Buddhist understanding or training, exemplifying like this Buddhist trait, you know. So like the things, like these ancient teachings and practices and principles, they just exist, you know. And I want to talk about that. That's that love. That's that love and friendliness, caring about others, like actually, genuinely. And when you genuinely care, you know, that's like Buddhism, right? You got like the intention, the thought, you know, that's part of the Noble Eightfold Path. You talk about it, but then you do it, you know. If you're just thinking about it and talking about it, you're missing a step. So yeah, let's talk about that. What do y'all think?
I completely agree with you. You know, am I going to try and be diplomatic? Probably not. Anyone that knows me knows I'm probably not. I'm going to say I'm going to try and be, but I'm not going to be. You know, and unfortunately, not only in the little time, well, I say little time, actually time's marching on. I've probably been in Massachusetts nearly 2 months now. But let's just say this, there are a lot more individuals and organisations that are very good at talking the talk. I don't see them walking the walk. And people like Bob and Chrissy, they probably don't even know what the word metta means. But there couldn't be any more personification of metta than those people. Yeah, interesting. It's been interesting to me to find. It's not new to me. I've been railing against this for a long time, and I'm going to kind of try and step off my soapbox now. But you know, you can learn as many fancy Pali words as you like, or any other language for that matter, and I don't have an issue with anyone doing that. But unless you're actually going to put that into practice for the, I think I'm going to say for the greater good. That sounds quite grand, doesn't it? And I'm sure I've heard that loads of places before. Unless you're going to put that into practice, I question what worth it is. And that's fine. I'm not a scholar, never have been. I'm a meditator, and I was going to say I'm not knocking anyone, but I guess I kind of am. You know, I just think that there's not enough practical application, certainly in what is considered to be the upper echelons of Western Buddhism. And I think I'll leave it at that before I absolutely destroy both myself and the program. And I'm just being honest, I can't help it. That's what I do.
So Sujato, that wasn't directed towards anybody. So you know, if there's people out there that feel it resonates with them, maybe they should take an inward look. So let's just leave it at that. And you know what? That brought to mind something. I just want to kind of key in on another organization that we really kind of like we support and we love and we know is really trying to help the people. It's the Mass Ave Project. Justin Downey, Jamie Bradley. You know, and they go out, and it's the 18th. We're going out, right? We're going to see the people. We're going to go, 18th. And we're going to go with them, and they're doing a big drive. They're going to bring food, and they're going to show people that they really care about them. You know, show consideration. You know, and that's a beautiful thing. You know, people taking time. So if you can support that organization as well, the Mass Ave Project. We're all in this together, and that's what we're doing.
And Chrissy and Bob's organisation, and I'm sorry, you know what I'm like with names.
Oh, Project Do Something. Yes, that's Chrissy and Bob's organization, Project Do Something. And then there's tons of other small grassroots organizations along with ours, and we're all trying to work together and find healthy solutions, and we all bring something else to the table. you know, and that's ultimately the goal of Dharma Outreach and Try Recovery, you know, and these other organizations. We're all looking for assistance and help from just regular people, anybody, you know. With the Dharma Outreach, it's Buddhist folks, you know, it's, you know, people that are concerned, you know, want to help, just reach out, let us know, you know, and we can always find a place where, you know, people can be of assistance.
Thank you. Well, time's kind of marching on as it does. I want to thank Jeremy so much for not only for being here, but for also for getting me here today. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
And I would kind of like to, you know, if there's anything you'd like to say before we close, to give the ending to you, if you like.
Put me on the spot.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right. I mean, basically what I have to say is, for me, once I started my journey on self-discovery, I changed everything basically in my life. I was working a job that wasn't fulfilling at all. And I sort of like went through this spiritual awakening, and when I like came from it, it was like, okay, I know what I need to do now, and I've been doing it ever since. Like I just want to give, you know, I want to help people who need the help, because it was there for me, and I would love to make it available for others.
That's beautiful, Jeremy. Saying like the cup's full and it's starting to spill over.
Right.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that is exactly what I think we're achieving. We're actually bringing, we're folks are gravitating towards us, not because of us, but because of, you know, there are good people out there that genuinely want to give something back, and that was the reason. I'm not going to keep going on about it. It's the reason I left quite a very easy existence in Thailand. Don't believe anyone that tells you how hard life is for monks in Thailand, because it's incredibly easy. It's heartwarming to hear when people say things like that. So I think on that note, we're probably somewhere near time. Marshall, did you have anything you wanted to end with?
No, just thank you guys, love you guys. I love all the people out there doing great work to help with the people that are struggling and suffering out there, and reducing suffering on a great grand scale, like something like you said, and that's all I got. That's what we're doing.
Okay, then I think with that we'll wrap it up for this week. You won't get rid of us. We'll be back probably in 2 weeks' time with the next episode. Thank you again so much, Jeremy. Really appreciate your time, and thank you everyone for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.